There are words that quietly shape the direction of a life. They slip out in moments of stress, in casual conversations, in half-joking confessions. And before we realize it, they begin to define what we believe is possible for us. Successful people are not successful because they have some magical vocabulary, but because over time they have learned which sentences weaken them and which ones strengthen them. If you listen closely to people who consistently grow, build, and move forward, you will notice something interesting. There are certain phrases you almost never hear from them, not because they are pretending or performing confidence, but because those phrases simply do not fit the way they see the world. Think about the last time you felt stuck. Chances are a sentence ran through your head that quietly closed a door. Something that sounded reasonable, even honest, but carried a hidden surrender inside it. Successful people have trained themselves to catch those sentences and replace them before they harden into beliefs. This is not about positive thinking or fake optimism. It is about responsibility, ownership, and an internal language that keeps possibility alive even when circumstances are difficult. One of the most telling things successful people never say is, "I don't have time." This does not mean they have endless hours or perfect schedules. It means they understand that time is not found. It is allocated. When they say, "I don't have time," what they often really mean is, "This is not a priority." And successful people are careful with that truth. They know that blaming time removes responsibility from the decision maker. Instead, they might say, "This is not my focus right now," or "I will make time for this later." The shift is subtle but powerful. It keeps them in control of their choices rather than making time the villain of their lives. Another phrase you rarely hear is, "That's not my job." Successful people understand roles, but they also understand ownership. They know that rigidly hiding behind job descriptions limits growth. This does not mean they allow themselves to be exploited or overworked endlessly. It means they recognize opportunities to learn, contribute, and stand out. When something needs to be done, they ask, "How can I help?" rather than, "And now says, why should I?" This mindset builds trust, reputation, and competence over time. People who rise tend to be those who step forward when something matters, not those who step back because it technically falls outside their lane. You will also notice that successful people almost never say, "I'm not ready yet," when an opportunity appears. Of course, they prepare, they practice, and they learn. But they also understand that readiness is not a finish line you cross before starting. Readiness is often created by action, not before it. Waiting to feel fully ready is often just fear dressed up as caution. Successful people move with imperfect confidence. They say yes, then grow into the responsibility. They trust their ability to adapt, learn, and figure things out along the way. Another sentence that quietly holds people back is, "This is just the way I am." Successful people do not deny their personality or strengths, but they refuse to turn them into cages. They know that identity is not fixed, it is shaped. Saying, "This is just the way I am," often shuts down growth, feedback, and evolution. Instead, successful people say things like, "This is something I'm working on," or "I am learning to be better at this." They see themselves as a work in progress, not a finished product. That belief alone keeps them moving forward while others remain stuck, defending their limitations. You will rarely hear successful people say, "I failed." That does not mean they never fail. It means they frame failure differently. They talk about experiments, lessons, attempts, and feedback. To them, failure is not an identity, it is an event. Something that happened, not something they are. When they say, "I failed," it can feel final, heavy, and personal. When they say, "That didn't work," it becomes lighter, temporary, and informative. This difference in language protects their confidence while still allowing honesty and accountability. Another phrase you rarely hear is, "That's not my job." Successful people understand roles, but they also understand ownership. They know that rigidly hiding behind job descriptions limits growth. This does not mean they allow themselves to be exploited or overworked endlessly. It means they recognize opportunities to learn, contribute, and stand out. When something needs to be done, they ask, "How can I help?" rather than "Why should I?" This mindset builds trust, reputation, and competence over time. People who rise tend to be those who step forward when something. Successful people also avoid saying, "It's not fair." Life is not fair and they know it. But dwelling on unfairness rarely changes outcomes. It drains energy that could be used for action. This does not mean they ignore injustice or accept poor treatment. It means they do not build their identity around victimhood. Instead of asking why something is unfair, they ask what they can control, what they can do next, and how they can move forward despite the imbalance. This focus on agency is one of their greatest advantages. You will almost never hear successful people say, "I can't." They might say, "I can't do this yet," or "I can't do this alone," or "I need help." But a flat, "I can't," is too final, too absolute. It shuts down possibility. Successful people break challenges into parts. They look for resources, mentors, tools, and strategies. By refusing to use language that implies permanent incapability, they keep doors open in their own minds. Another sentence they avoid is, "Someone else will do it." Successful people understand that waiting for someone else to act is often a way of avoiding responsibility. When something matters to them, they take initiative. This does not mean they do everything themselves, but they do not assume progress will happen without their involvement. Leadership often begins the moment someone stops waiting for permission or rescue. Finally, successful people rarely say, "I'm lucky." They may acknowledge luck, timing, or support, but they do not reduce their achievements to chance. They understand that calling everything luck diminishes effort, strategy, resilience, and consistency. They prefer to recognize the systems they built, the habits they practiced, and the decisions they made. This reinforces the belief that future success is also within their influence, not dependent on random fortune. What ties all of this together is not arrogance or denial of reality, it is awareness. Successful people pay attention to the words they use because they understand that language shapes thought, and thought shapes behavior. Over time, these small shifts in phrasing accumulate into massive differences in outcomes. Two people can face the same obstacle with the same resources and end up in completely different places, simply because of the stories they tell themselves while navigating it. If you listen closely to your own language, especially in moments of stress or disappointment, you will start to notice patterns. Certain phrases show up again and again, quietly setting limits, creating excuses, or reinforcing fear. The good news is that language is one of the easiest things to change once you become aware of it. You do not need a new degree, a new network, or a new personality to begin. You just need to catch the sentence before it settles in. This is not about pretending everything is fine or forcing confidence you do not feel. It is about choosing words that keep you responsible, curious, and capable. Over time, those words turn into habits. Those habits turn into behavior. And that behavior slowly, almost invisibly, builds a version of you that can handle more, aim higher, and recover faster. So the next time you feel stuck, pay attention not just to what is happening around you, but to what you are saying about it. Ask yourself whether those words are helping you move forward or quietly asking you to stop. Success often begins, not with a dramatic breakthrough, but with a simple decision to stop saying the things that keep you small. If this resonated with you, start today by noticing one phrase you rely on that no longer serves you and consciously replacing it. Share this insight with someone who might need it. Reflect on your own language daily and take that first step toward a mindset that supports the future you want to build.